Hi, everyone. Super excited to have you guys join us tonight on Client Spotlight. First time I'm doing this. And with us here, we have Claudia Chan. So, Claudia and I, we've been inside of this 6 weeks group coaching program for these past 6 weeks called the Miko Method. And I'm just really excited to be a part of Claudia's transformation in these past 6 weeks. And tonight, we're going to dive in to talk about how she's overcame some challenges around being like the need to be perfect, and how far she's came. So with that being said, Claudia, so excited that you're joining us tonight.
Hey Miko, I'm calling him Miko.
Yay! Yes, this is so exciting because if you guys knew Claudia like 6 weeks ago, I don't know if she would ever be able to do this.
No.
So just the fact that you're doing this interview with me, you are so joyful, so carefree. It's a symbol, it's a reflection of how far you have came. So Claudia, let's jump right in. Tell us, when we first connected, where were you at that time, mentally, emotionally, just overall?
So for myself, I am a full-time radiation therapist, which means we use radiation to treat cancer patients, and I am also a full-time mom to a 3-year-old son. So with having a business on the side is it's been kind of challenging. And what my side business is a calligraphy business or an engraving business. So with the COVID, when it hit, it kind of went downhill. And there were a lot of things that I do want to go ahead and do, but with everything that's going on, even though I was trying a lot of different things, like for the people who knew me, I was like trying to teach online. I was trying to do like online shows and things like that, but there was still part of me that I really was just struggling a lot. And with me, as um, Nico probably mentioned, like I'm very much a perfectionist. For people who know me, they always see me as like I need to achieve something really nice and everything perfect. So that part was just giving me a lot of restriction, sort of. And when
Mhm.
I seeing other people kind of going ahead with what they're doing, it kind of put me really down, and it kind of brought me to even a worse point. So, and when I saw Miko's videos and things like that, and reach out to her like, how did you do this or that? So that's how we started.
Yeah, I remember I was actually looking at my notes like when we first connected, when we got on a phone call together. I remember you were at this place where it's almost felt like suffocating. Like you have so much you want to offer with your business and your creativity. Everybody gets to see the work that you create with your calligraphy. Like it's so beautiful. But like I could feel almost that huge pressure that was suffocating you, that need to be perfect, the like your fear of how it looks like when you put your work out there. It's almost like it stopped you right in your tracks back then. So you
Hmm.
I think you mentioned to me that you're struggling with procrastination,
Hmm.
knowing that that's what you needed to do, but you couldn't take the steps to go there because there were some deep rooted fears underneath of that.
Hmm.
So can you tell us more what those fears were? I know you mentioned something about your mom growing up. I don't know if you want to share that, however much you want to share with the audience today.
So what happened was when I was doing the online show, I was kind of reaching out to like other people to in order to like because I had always thought that I needed to hone in on my interview skills to become a better interviewer. So I reached out to this lady called Jam Gamble, and she's amazing. She teaches public speaking, and so I reached out to her. But as I was working with her, she said, "No, something's not right. It's not that you can't express yourself. It's just that there's something that has to do with your mom." And so, and the main thing is because I love my mom to death. She just plays everything in front of my brother and myself so well that um, we never really got to try stuff on our own or make a lot of decisions. And even then, there is a lot of things that kind of like also with the Asian culture, with the Chinese culture, there's a lot of societal expectations and things like that. And with me moving from Hong Kong to Canada, a lot of these experience kind of stopped me on my track. And all these things were just a little bit part of me that were experiences that I came across, but without knowing that, those were the things that were hindering my ability to perform or to just even to express myself, right?
Mhm.
So there were a lot of times I felt like I couldn't express myself, I couldn't voice myself just because I didn't think that people would want to listen to me, just because I think that people would kind of judge me or evaluate me based on what I have to say. Even though a part of me said, like, you know what, I don't really care what other people think of me, but deep down, I still do. So
Mhm.
there were just a lot of stuff that were happening and which I didn't know about when I first reached out to Miko. And so during the process, it was just like a lot of things that were revealed. And then I was like, oh, okay. And these were the things that were just stopping me, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is so exciting. This is why I always tell people this, like we can try to take off the action, follow off the strategies, the formulas of trying to build a business. We do everything, but if we keep pushing against these triggers, these something that lays deeper, that it's triggering our fears of rejection, fears of abandonment, whatever that trigger is, it's just constant battle, and eventually it's going to lead to that burnout, frustration,
Hmm.
procrastination. So tell us what happened really in these past 6 weeks, like being in this container together with other amazing people
Hmm.
inside my program. What were some of the biggest things that you were able to realize or break through? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I have to say, like with having a small group of people, it's very nice because then you get to really get to know these people on an intimate level. Because for me, I actually can open up. I feel that I can open up a lot more to people I don't know versus my own friends. So like it's nice to be able to open them up just because as I said before, like I actually don't really care about what other people think of me. I actually care about what the people I know think of me. So then that's why like with that setting, I was able to kind of share more with other people. So with in regards to the breakthrough, I think one of the biggest things is that is the understanding of what it means to really love myself. And like a lot of times you say, oh, you need to do self care, self love. But what does that really mean, right? Because like for myself, like sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to sleep more. I need to do this more. I need to take care of my skin. I need to take care of my hair. But at the end of the day, like you don't really know what that means until you are able to accept all these parts of you that
Mhm.
you quote unquote you deem them as negative or deem them as broken. But during this course, I realized that from what Miko was teaching us, like you are not broken, you
Mhm.
are perfect the way you are. You just have to know that to um, you don't have to be more, you don't have to learn more, you don't have to achieve more, because if you go into that direction, that means you are in a state of lack. And as they said, like in the manifesting realm, or even if you talk about the scientific realm, where you get what you focus on.
Mhm.
So if you focus on I need to learn more to be more, then that means you are not there yet. So if let's say you reading something, you need to read something to get there, then that means that at that state you are still not enough. You still need to you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, right? So you have to be able to stay in the present to say, I have everything I need, I have everything I have, I am everything I am, so
Mhm.
that you are at the state where you can actually achieve you it's like that achievement state that you are already satisfied. So then you're attracting more of that satisfactory or that state, right? So then I think that's the
Mhm.
one thing that I learned so much, because that's when you say, it's okay. Everything is perfect. You are perfect. You are enough. And that to me is the breaking point, because a lot of times, like when I was talking to my husband, he's like, so like during the 6 week, he was like, so what do you want? And then I start crying. I was like, no one really asked me what I want, right? Or like there was one time Miko was like, accept your perfectionistic self, and then I start crying because I'm like, you know what, like that is a part of me that I get so hung up on, and
Mhm.
you know, and it's like that is part of me, and it's okay. Like that part of me serves me well up to this point, and I'm good enough. I just need to really accept it, embrace it, to really love myself as I am right now, so that I can then open myself up for more. So yeah,
Mm.
that's the one thing that
Claudia,
I love.
I'm just getting chills all over my body, and like I feel this love overflowing my heart because I know I've done a good job when I can hear it from you. Like you're basically saying everything that I've been teaching you in these past 6 weeks, and you have so much integrated that and embody that wisdom and that teaching. Now that you're basically teaching others what you've learned in these past 6 weeks, and I'm just so happy. And this is huge for someone who's a perfectionist, right? When we are constantly striving to be the best, to be the next level of ourselves, constantly doing the personal development work, that's inherently we're saying something is wrong with this, that something is missing, something is in lack, that we need to fix, that we need to control. And for you to be able to tap into and experience this wholeness, this acceptance of what is, and not no longer in resistance of these parts of you that you've deemed to be not okay, that's really powerful, because now instead of coming from this place of lack, you're coming from a place of wholeness. And like you said, you're attracting results into you versus feeling like where you're at right now, it's in lack, so that you got to go somewhere in the future
Mhm,
to create a success, to create a money, to create a happiness. So
mhm.
tell me how knowing this and shifting internally, creating this transformation, how is that showing up in terms of like your connection with your husband, your son? Like what kind of external results did you see to start to manifest as a result of you doing this inner work?
I have to say that I consciously choose to, because there's always a working process that you have to mentally choose to whether do something or you don't do something. And one of the things that I do believe is that if you want to have like whatever you want, you have to like mentally choose whether you are afraid or whether you're resisting, whether you are like not happy, but you still have to choose something, right? So for the last little while, I did choose to spend more time with my son, like a conscious spending of time with him, not just I'm body present with him, but like I'm mentally present with him, I'm spiritually present with him. I mean, there are times when I'm really tired, and that's different. But I do see a little bit more connection with him, and because he's always been a daddy's boy, because for the longest time, like daddy is the one who takes care of him at night. So like he's never been like come to mommy or anything, but like he loves playing with me because I like that's one thing that daddy doesn't do is to play crazy stuff with him. So I do play a lot with him, and he loves whenever he's awake that he'll try to grab me to play with him. So it is something that I am noticing more, that I do like, as you said, like even though I have this realization, it's a constant work. It's not like, oh, I realize it and it's done. It's a constant work. So um, I could be tired, but then I could be grumbly, but then I still say, okay, I just accept that I have this feeling, but then I still choose to like spend time with him, just because I was like, oh, do you know what? He's going to grow up very soon, and he'll be like, he mommy, I don't want to come home for dinner anymore, right? So like I'm already prepared for that moment. So like I'm just choosing to spend more time with him so that we like build a really good relationship. And even with my husband, like he's been seeing like a lot of the work that is being done. So both of us are going into the leadership program training, so that he's also working on himself, so that we are mentally ready and physically ready to prepare for the next phase of our life. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to that because one of the good things about me and my husband is that we are usually on the same page. If let's say there's something I feel like I before the training, like I quote unquote need to work on, he'll be like, oh yeah, like it is probably something I should go up ahead and do also, right? So it's something that we are trying to like to kind of work together to
Mm-hmm.
like just so that we can get into a better groove with each other. So
Yeah, and this is so powerful, Claudia. Your son is so adorable. He's only like 3, I believe. And like
yeah.
the work that you're doing, it's literally creating generational impact because now you are leading by example with your ways of being. You're letting your son know that, hey, I get to be good enough just by being in this present moment. I don't need to prove myself with my achievement, with external
Mhm.
results, constantly being perfect in the eyes of
Yeah.
others. Like you are really showing him how to embody that good enoughness, that worthiness now at that age. And I also see you like in these past 6 weeks letting go of control, surrendering, being able to like be okay with being messy and just fully letting your authentic self to be seen. And a couple of weeks ago, I know, Claudia, you did a Facebook Instagram live dancing with your son, and it was so
Yeah.
adorable. And you are doing like more Instagram lives now, sharing you with the role with your authentic self. And
Mhm.
it's such a blessing to be able to have people experience and access the true essence of you versus the layers and layers of mask that we put on as a protective mechanism to protect us from those fears of rejection,
Mhm.
not being perfect. So Claudia, tell
Mhm.
us, what are some of the biggest thing now you feel like you have the tools in your toolbox
Mhm.
moving forward? Now you can, like, as you continue on this journey of building your business, what are some tools that you feel like you have now?
For the tools, I feel like um, it's really giving myself enough time. I think a lot of times, like we are so busy that we feel like time is the one thing that we don't have. And I've been working in that way too. But it is something that you need to give yourself, and you need to pour love into yourself, and meaning that you have to accept everything that you're feeling at that moment, and just pause and give yourself that love and attention in order to for you to serve others or do whatever you need to do, right? Because if you keep just running, then you're just going to fall flat on your face, right? So you need to take a breather for yourself so that you kind of recuperate, and then you kind of evaluate where you are. Is like, is this something that you really want? Where else? Where exactly you are putting your energy in, right? Because
Mhm.
it's the mental, like a conscious realization of, are we just running like chicken without our heads, or are we really being really intentional as to what we're exactly doing? And I think in terms of the tools, like, and that's one thing that I really wanted to share with other people is that, because for me, when I was teaching calligraphy, I still want to teach calligraphy. And that was kind of like what I had kind of envisioned, like to go travel all over the world to like teach calligraphy, right? But at the same time, like during the COVID period, I was like, but what does that really mean, right? Like I was teaching calligraphy, I was doing on-site work for brands and like personalizing like cosmetic stuff, like perfume and cosmetics for brands. But then at the end of the day, I feel like calligraphy or engraving, these are just tools, these are just vehicles to really spread the word as to what what does your life really mean, right? And also, um, because before I was also talking about creativity, like because I did a show about creativity, and Chase Jarvis was one of the main people that I was kind of always citing, and his words is, the world is your canvas and you creating your life. And it's not just small C creativity where you're taking on art or photography, but what does it mean for you to create your life, right? And so I was thinking with my calligraphy, or if there's a way for me to spread it, like I want people to see that there is a lot of potential in them also, that I want to inspire them in some way to make them connect with them at a deeper level instead of just on the surface level, like going to work, coming back to work, spending time with the kids, or even just lying there watching TV, right? Because there is something a little bit bigger, and I always believe that God is there, or like, or if you don't believe in God, is someone higher or more spiritual, that you are actually brought into this world for a meaning. Like you're not just brought into this world just because, right? And this was another thing too. When I was growing up, I kept thinking like why was I even born, right? So, and that was like when I was like really young. So I had always thought like there has got to be something else. And this is kind of for the past, I would say, a few months, it had been on my mind a lot. I feel like there is something bigger, and I wanted to find out what that is and where that is, that I'm supposed to do, and and that's why I when Rico said, you know what, you need to do this. So I'm like, yeah, okay,
Yeah, and
right? Because
Claudia, I wanna jump in there really quickly because what I witnessed on the side, like from the outside, being working with you in these past 6 weeks, is the way I looked at it was the more you heal those traumas from the past, you were slowly removing these blockages in your own way. You were getting out of your own way every step. So now you have this direct access to your creativity, to your joy, to your inspiration, to all of the things that's in you. And there's really nothing, I mean, there's less things now standing in your way. So not only do other people get to experience you without those filters, you also get to tap into those flow of creativity and abundance and ideas and joy. And it's so beautiful. This was only 6 weeks and you went all in, and I'm just so proud of you. So as we're wrapping up, I do want to open up the floor. We have Catrina here for tuning in. I just want to acknowledge Catrina for tuning in tonight because you said yes to you. You said something resonated with you about Claudia's story, and you showed up. You showed up, and you get to ask Claudia. You get to be the next Claudia if you're also struggling with perfectionism. So, Catrina, I would love to see if you have any questions at all that you want to ask Claudia about her journey.
Um, what was one specific tool that you learned that helped you in this transformation?
So Miko actually gives out a lot of tools. But one of the things that it really helped is meditation. The meditation is the biggest part because this is where you actually sit with yourself and you go really deep into yourself to look at what had actually what came up in your mind, right? Because when it comes to meditation, a lot of times our minds will just flash things in front of your eyes. And then that's when you actually see all these snippets of your past that that you had experienced before. So it could be just for myself, because for me, I actually came here from, I migrated here from Hong Kong. So there were a lot of little processes that came about that I experienced when I got here to Canada. I didn't know any English. I like there were a lot of the little, even though they are not big things, but when you were young, you didn't know how to deal with them. And that's what Miko would always say, those are the traumas that your body, like you embody. Because like for me, for example, I'll tell you a very funny story. So I was in ESL, so meaning it's second English as a second language. And during class, I was the only one in my class who had to go to this ESL class. And I didn't know it was a weird like setting of the date and the time. But anyways, I was supposed to go to my ESL class, and it's removed. It's like outside in the portable. I don't know if you know what a portable is. But so it's like a big building and then a small portable where I have to go for ESL. I think I was like maybe a few minutes early or a few seconds early. I don't know. When I knocked on the door, the teacher didn't answer because there was no one in the portal. I was like, did I mistakenly mistake that it was not my class, right? So then I got worried. But then when I went back to my classroom, all my classmates were gone. I think they went for like a computer class or something. So then I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I hid in the washroom. I hid in the washroom because I didn't know where to go, right? So then, so then the next day when I went, my ESL teacher was like, "You didn't show up to class yesterday." I was like, yeah, I forgot, right? But that was like my little traumatic experience of going to class. No one was there, and then go back to my own classroom. No one was there, and then I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. I had no idea. I had no idea. So then I felt so I just caught off guard. So I think that's also part of why I am a perfectionist. A perfectionist. I need to know what's going on. I need to know once I show up, this is the result that I'm going to get, right? So these little things actually leads you to know why you're acting a certain way. And so yeah, that's kind of my little story. So it's only when you are having that moment to yourself. Because like if let's say you're watching TV or something's flashing in front of you, you're not going to pay attention to your mind, right? It's really only when you're in your bedroom or in your own safe space and you're going deep down and see what actually flashes in front of your mind, and that's when you kind of come up with these imageries, and then that moment where you feel that heart connection, and then that's when you understand where these connections come from. So as much as we all know these things, because like I'm sure you've heard, oh, meditation is the best thing for you to connect with your spiritual side or like within your heart. Like we just don't know how to do these things until you're guided there, right? So that's why I really believe in hiring coaches, because they are the expert. They have done the process. They have learned through their skills so that they can guide you, so you don't have to spend a lot of time to explore it on your own. Of course, you can explore it on your own, but between money and time, for me, I'm always a lack of time. And that's also the other thing that was what I was talking about. Is like I'm always lack of time. So then that's why I would always hire someone to teach me something, so that it's a most straightforward path to the perfectionistic self. So that's also the other spin, like kind of thread that runs through my life, right? So that's the other thread that I personally see when I talk to people who are more experienced, more expert than myself. So yeah, that's one of the tools.
Thank you so much. And Katrina, beautiful question that you asked Claudia. And there are so many stuff in there that I want to pick apart really quickly. First of all, I totally resonate with you about the ESL experience, because I also immigrated from Hong Kong, Claudia. I don't know if you know this,
Oh, really?
but yeah. And so I love that you brought up that story, because I can almost see that in that moment when you showed up and nobody was there 2 times. It's almost like it made you feel like unless you showed up perfectly at the perfect time, it's gonna mean people will abandon you, right? It's almost like people rejected you because all of your students, all your peers, your teacher were gone, literally gone, and you had no idea where they were at. So like, and that feeling, it stays stuck in our body. And just like what Claudia, you just mentioned, why meditation or even having someone, what I did really for you and the rest of the group in these past 6 weeks was simply holding that space, creating that space for you guys to shift out of your head into your body, dropping into that connection, that it's not something we can do on our own. Because I use this analogy all the time. Like if you were drowning in the water, you cannot be the same person trying to save yourself from that drowning water. So that's why you need that outside person to create that space for you, guide you through a process so that you can drop out of your head and really connect to that deeply rooted trauma that you may not even know until you have that beautiful container to really shift into that. So beautiful answer to Catrina's question. Let's do one more and then we'll wrap this up. So Catrina, do you have another question for Claudia or for me as we finish this off?
I guess a question for Claudia was, you mentioned you have a fear of judgment from people that you don't know. I think that's how you worded it.
No, I have a fear of judgment from people that I know.
Okay, from
So
you.
it's a very separate from the people that I don't know. Like for example, if let's say I say whatever I need to say, I don't really exactly care what you say back to me because it doesn't affect me because I don't know you. But I care a lot about what the people that I know, like especially my mom, would say. So that's one of the biggest holding me back that I am still working on because of how powerful of a woman she is. And it's a lot of times that it's the little things that even if it's a very neutral comment, but because you're the daughter, it impacts you a lot. You know how like your mom can press your button just like this, or your close friends can press your button just like this because you know them and because they know you and they sometimes know your quote unquote weak points and they'll say something and you're like, stop it, right? So it's the people that I know that I'm usually more concerned about. But at the same time, it is something that I am so and I choose to work on, and I'm really excited to be working on that to get a closer connection with my family or with my friends. And even now that I'm saying this, like I I haven't really connected with my own friends for a long time, just because of, as I said, like time has been a big issue for me, and I've always been run, run, run. Because after I come back from full-time work and I have to take care of my son, it's only when he sleeps, and that's when I get to work on my side business. So then with that go, I never really get to reach out to the people who are close to me. So it's something that is like one baby step at a time, and even for the 6 weeks, Miko is like saying, you can't, even though you're aware now, you can't just shift within the two, like we were in the second week. She said, this is only the second week. You're not going to become perfect and you can accept yourself just like that, right? So it's like everyday baby steps, baby steps. So
yeah. And Claudia, I want to add a little quick piece of coaching in there because I love that you say you have this, you care more about people closest to you, what they think of you, but it's all connected. How we relate to the people closest to us is also how we relate to even our clients, our business partners, like strangers. It's all the same because we are the same being. So when you can really overcome this challenge, this block of worrying about what, let's say, your mom thinks of you, what she feels about you, you also open the door to creating deeper intimacy and connection with people close to you, with your clients, and just everybody. So it's not separated.
yeah, I
So,
know, I know.
so Catrina, was that your question? Did Claudia answer your question?
Yes, I was just wondering if she had overcome that fear. And she answered, she said, you're still going.
I am still going through it. And I think it's one of the biggest piece that that was blocking me. And I think it's the perfectionistic versus like the connection and all these like I intertwine together because I've always been a lone wolf kind of girl since I was in elementary school, right? So it's not, and I'm 40. So it's not something that I can actually overcome within 6 weeks. And I am not going to, it's first of all, it's not realistic. Second of all, I can't expect that, because in order for me to love myself, and that's what it kind of goes back to very beginning, like what does it really mean to love yourself, is to accept all the parts uh, at this moment. So once you have broken through this part, then the next moment something else is going to come up, and you have to break through that other part. So it's like a working moment by moment sort of thing. And by you being able to accept all these parts, then that's when you can actually say you love yourself.
Yes, and Katrina, I love that you asked that question because it really, but at the end of the day, this is an everlasting journey. The journey of healing and transformation and breakthrough never ends. But here's what the gift, the beautiful tool that Claudia has now. First of all, she has the clarity, she has the awareness, she knows what she's like. If she feels triggered, if she feels that fear of rejection comes up, at least now she can see that it's not her, it's separated from her. And in that moment, she has choice. She has power to decide, am I going to react from this trigger and let that drive my life, my decisions? Or am I going to come from a place of wholeness, a place of power, empowered decision, empowered choices? And she can do that now because she's done the work, even in the 6 weeks. And she will still get triggered. She will still maybe procrastinate, but at least she has that power back. And that's really all you really need, the tool, the foundation to move forward. So I'm so glad you asked those two beautiful questions, Katrina. And thank you for joining us. So let's wrap this up. Claudia, I want to say I am so proud and so honored that you trusted me these past 6 weeks. And like, this is 100% you. I was really just this space for you. You did all the work and you get to acknowledge yourself, celebrate yourself for how far you have came. And I just cannot wait to see you continue to evolve and really step into this powerful, confident version of you that gets to share all your gifts with the world. Is there any word you'd like to finish this off with? Any last words you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, actually, two things. I want to first say thank you to Miko. And the first time I've met her through our business coaching program, like I could see her transformation, and it just became more powerful and more endearing. And it's that her personality just really drew me in, and I really loved that. So that's why I reached out to her. And I think if this is one of your decisions, you there really is nothing to lose, because whatever money you can always make back, right? Money you can always make back, but are you ready to actually move yourself along, or are you just deciding to stay where you are? That's a decision that you have to make. And whatever you make, it's okay. As like Miko said, it's a neutral, it's a neutral judgment. But at the same time, like how much time do you need to um, give yourself to take on this next step, right? So that's one thing I want to say, and I want to say thank you to Miko. It's so beautiful working with you. The other thing is, I think that working with you has been a blessing, and it was really, we had created such a beautiful group that it's like a friendship that it's just going to, I'm just going to treasure a lot. So thank you so much for giving us the space.
Thank you so much, Claudia. I receive all of that. And anyone listening, I want to let the wisdom and the insights that Claudia has really shared with us tonight to really empower you to make that decision. Like if something is resonating with you, like for example, Katrina, if you're on here, if something is touching you in your heart and you feel like, oh my gosh, I feel exactly the way that Claudia shared, just 6 weeks ago, you get to decide and make that decision to even reach out. If you want to speak with Claudia, you can connect with Claudia. If you want to speak with me, I'm here to support you guys. Like it really requires that one-on-one. Like I wish I can help all of you guys just through like an interview like this, but it really requires me to be able to pick on, like, to see your blind spots for you, to see what's underneath of the layers so that you have clarity, you have the tools moving forward. So go ahead and reply to the email that this specific interview went out to, and then we can jump on a call and connect. And again, thank you so much, Claudia, for being on here. And thank you, Catrina, and everyone else. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.